to Life in Surround. Today we're going to be embarking on another broader topic that I hope to cover in future videos. Such as in a previous video, we started the discussion of video collections that have discrete 5.1 remixes, or some sort of surround remix. 4.0, 5.0 would count as well. And of course the channel will mainly focus over time on surround audio albums because that's where the most surround music is to be found. But another category of surround entertainment are concerts, concert videos, some of which have actual discrete mixes. Now I think most people are familiar that concerts, even when they're mixed in surround, usually have the performance up front and reverb and crowd noise in the surrounds. And while that can help you feel like you're there, it really doesn't drive surround enthusiasts wild by any means. Now there are rare concerts, all too rare, that do have surround mixes. Quite a few of which have been mixed by Mr. Steven Wilson, who I covered in an earlier video. So I invite you to go back and check out that video where I try to cover pretty much everything he's done in surround. But today it's my pleasure to review and to discuss with you a brand new offering from Mr. Steven Wilson. It is his concert from Royal Albert Hall called Home Invasion. Home Invasion was shot at Royal Albert Hall, which Steven Wilson says is among his favorite venues on the entire planet. It looks wonderful. There's high production value going on with lights, videography, dancing, the musicianship. It is quite evident that Steven Wilson has poured quite a lot of effort and expense and heart into this show. He enjoyed being at Royal Albert Hall, and he wanted to put on a show that was really worth watching as much as listening to. So with that, let's move on to what many are discussing as the biggest negative about this show, and that would be the set list. As far as I can tell, this set list covers the entire To The Bone album. I see 10 tracks. And for me, that's not a problem. You know, To The Bone was a very slow grower for me. I didn't really like the singles that were put out to try to attract people to the album. It wasn't until I gave the entire album a deep listen in 5.1 that I began to really appreciate it. My initial problem with To The Bone was it felt to me like one of my prog heroes was making a concerted effort to become a pop star. While To The Bone does represent a foray into some pop motifs and some shorter form work, some catchier, even danceable tunes and beats, it really is not a pop record. It's a rock record. It has a lot of proggy moments. It's darkly themed. It has a lighter, poppier moment here or there. So the fact that this concert covers all or most of that album doesn't really bother me that much. It didn't bother me upon sitting down just to watch it. In addition to The Bone regarding his solo career, we also have songs representing The Raven That Refused to Sing, 4.5, and Hand Cannot Erase. So we are missing songs from Insurgentus and Grace for Drowning, but those albums are represented pretty well with his previous concert, Get All You Deserve. So I think we can forgive that. You also have Porcupine Tree pretty well represented. We have songs from Deadwing, In Absentia, Stupid Dream, and Fear of a Blank Planet. So I'm pretty happy in that regard. I found the song flow to be quite well thought out. The musicianship of this show is impeccable. Everybody on stage is just really flawlessly holding down their parts. It's a 3-hour show, and he had a variety of set lists throughout this tour, so I imagine these musicians had to master 4 or more hours of music to have the privilege of touring with Steven Wilson, so that's no easy gig. A lot of bands rehearse maybe 90 minutes worth of material and stick to that their entire tour, keeping things as easy on themselves as possible, but not so with Steven Wilson's gang. In addition to the show, you get 3 bonus tracks: Routine, Hand Cannot Erase, and Heart Attack in a Labie. Number 1, I'm not sure what a labie is. I have absolutely no idea, actually. Maybe it's a bus or a taxi or something. And I'm also not familiar with where it's from, so I'll have to go look that up. I should have done my homework. And there's also an interview, which I'll catch sometime on YouTube. I really don't like to sit and watch interview footage in my media room. I'd rather just get on to the next album. But I appreciate that it's included, but I strongly suspect it'll make its way onto the internet at some point, and I'll catch it later on. And so about the mix. I've seen online some people claiming that this mix is less discreet than Steven Wilson's previous concert offerings. And if it is, I'm really not hearing that. There's plenty of keyboards, guitars, vocals, mostly supportive elements, but definitely enveloping elements and important musical elements back in those surrounds. His website says that the concert was actually performed quadrophonically, which is very cool. Very few artists do that. Pink Floyd comes to mind. So that's awesome. And I would assume that the mix here is an attempt to recreate that experience. So you definitely have discrete musical elements back there. I'm not sure what people wanted to hear back there in addition. Perhaps more drums, maybe? I didn't detect a lot of drums or percussion back there. But this falls pretty solidly in the method for surround mixing that I think works best with most rock music, where you have the main rock band elements up front and supportive elements in your surrounds really enveloping you. And I'm not sure why, that just really seems to work for me, where you have the more concrete stuff up front really nailing things down, the drums, the bass, the main guitars, the main vocals. And as you get out further, it becomes a little bit more ethereal. I love putting like soft keyboard patches out in the surrounds of my music, and then having occasional keyboard flourishes fly around and occasional guitar parts pop out there and showcase themselves, and definitely backup vocals. And maybe I got that from Steven Wilson's work because I enjoy it. It really works for me. And I think it's just a reasonable, logical way to approach a lot of music, particularly rock, unlayering some of that clutter. So in terms of fidelity, this concert just sounds amazing to me. In terms of mix, it does everything that I want it to do and more. I'm happy if a concert has just an awesome performance, and when I get a discrete mix on top of that, I have to treat it as a bonus because I have to be realistic. Most concerts don't come out that way. So fidelity gets full marks, mix gets full marks, and the content for me is probably not quite ideal. I would have liked a little bit more Raven That Refused to Sing, as that's my favorite Steven Wilson record, and we only get the title track here. So I have to temper my evaluation of this a little bit in that regard. I do respect the confidence that Steven Wilson has in his new material. To play the entire album live, that's really saying something. You really believe in your work. You know, like one of my other favorite bands, Rush, rarely attempted that. In fact, they may have only done it on the Hemispheres tour. Not even the mighty Permanent Waves and Moving Pictures received every song performed live on those tours. So kudos to him really embracing this material. Ow! You don't get the title track To the Bone in this concert. Of all the songs that are represented here from To the Bone, which I think is damn near all of them, you don't actually get the song To the Bone, which I thought of at the time because that's actually one of my favorite songs from the new album. And maybe it's because Andy Partridge from XTC co-wrote it and there's some licensing or royalties issues. Not sure what's going on there. But yeah, this concert's missing To the Bone. So I have to temper my assessment of this concert a little bit just based on the content. The show looks amazing. The production is amazing. I particularly like during Permeating when they bring out the Bollywood dancers. I love the duets with Nanette. I also like that she's given a lead role during People Who Eat Darkness. I think she covers down on that vocal range a little better than Steven does, so I appreciate him giving her that chance. So for content, I think I'd be somewhere in like the 7 or 8 out of 10 range. So all told, I'm going to go vote. And I'm going to make this one an 8. But listen, for me, 8 is a very good vote. It's a very strong rating. I highly recommend you pick up this show, particularly with how much Steven Wilson over time has contributed to the surround world. I think it's worth simply supporting him. And to get an enjoyable show mixed discreetly with lots of great songs, even if you're not thrilled with the To the Bone album, you still get Porcupine Tree and his other solo works. I'm saying this is a strong 8. I highly recommend it, and I hope that if you pick it up, you enjoy it, or if you already have it, that you likewise enjoy it. I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the mix? What do you think about the fidelity, the performance, the set list, the videography? As always, I look forward to reading your comments and interacting with you in any other way that you see fit. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't like this video, give me a thumbs down. Leave comments either way. I enjoy reading those and responding as I can. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell, share this video, tell your friends. Any way that you interact with this channel helps the YouTube algorithm see it as important, and you're helping me get the word out there about our beloved hobby, surround music. So until next time, I just want to encourage you to live life in surround.